Hello?
Yeah, it's still going on, man. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I am Grant Magic, the dictator of the Republic of New Strathclyde, also the host of Virgan Radio Service. That bit of music that you heard there was called More Plastic by I believe a band called Power, an NCS release which you can find in the description below. This is actually the second try for this video, as the first one on Saturday didn't go particularly well due to a few inappropriate comments from our guest. Yes, I'm joined today by at MyLover1949 on Twitter. How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. I'm uh, I'm slightly distracted by other people crapping outside, so
People
apart from
clapping outside. Oh,
yes,
that.
it's the 8 p.m. annual crap for the NHS. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's. I wonder how many people crapping outside voted for Boris Johnson last November. I'd be curious.
Me too, man.
Curious
Me
about.
too.
We're not talking about him today, are we?
No, no. Maybe, maybe some other time. But
Yeah, I would like to maybe bring him up when we get to our coronavirus episode, whenever that is. I assume or somewhere.
could be next week, could be the week after. Who knows?
Why not?
Yeah, just
As long as we get to when it's still actually a thing. But
yeah. There's a lot of funny things surrounding that right now, but not talking about the virus.
we're talking about another virus, also known as the Clinton crime family, today.
Fuck's sake, that's funny. So I believe some of the points made in the last video, I can't exactly remember them all well.
We might all start from scratch, since only like 2 people were watching that, so we might as well start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't want to talk about like the details that everybody knows about, like how old the Clintons are, like when Bill became president. All that is public knowledge. You can Wikipedia that shit. I want to talk about the juicy, interesting stuff that people don't know about, like the stuff that you can't Wikipedia, or the Epstein stuff, the Weinstein stuff.
What about
like the juicy shit?
Yeah. How's about we start off with the thing that probably Bill Clinton's the most famous for would be his his sexual relations with another woman.
Yes.
Now I know a lot of people know about that whole schism that.
It's a very misinterpreted event. Probably one of the most biggest political scandals of the 20th century was Bill Clinton basically lying about coming on Monica Lewinsky's dress. I mean, Bill Clinton at that point was he was popular, not as popular as a lot of modern presidents during his first term, but he was sort of riding high in the polls, and basically the scandal came along and just completely fucked him over. Well, not fucked him over, since it was basically his fault, but sort of it drove us straight through basically everything he sort of accomplished at that point.
Yeah, I believe that he was only in office for 2 years, and he was actually impeached due to that.
Yes, it was. The affair itself wasn't impeachable. It was some lying that was the impeachable offence. I believe the third, it's either second or third president in U.S. history to be impeached. The prior to him was Richard Nixon over the Watergate scandal.
Richard Nixon was impeached. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so over Watergate. I did a bunch of other things, but Watergate was the primary reason.
Okay. You're gonna have to tell me about that one day, because maybe not today, but definitely one day.
Yeah, the whole thing about the bombing of Cambodia, which was sort of played into his impeachment as like a whole topic in and of itself, like why he did that, what he was trying to accomplish. But it's a thing for another time.
Yeah.
Our good boy Bill has only one war he was involved with, and a bulk of the conspiratorial shit goes back to a very brief war, the Yugoslav War.
Yes.
The only one he was involved with.
Yeah, I believe that we tried to talk about the Yugoslavian war, and that's when we decided that no, we can't do this with the other person. So
No,
tell us a little bit about the Yugoslav war. And I believe that you did mention that Yugoslavia broke up due to this war.
Well, you can't talk about the war without talking about Yugoslavia itself. Basically, before World War II, Yugoslavia was basically a bunch of Slavic independent states until based Field Marshal Tito came along and decided to group countries like Serbia, Slovenia, Bosnia together into one socialist super state, kind of like the Soviet Union, but not really. And for a long time, they were like one of those prosperous socialist states in the Eastern Bloc. Because bear in mind, Bill Clinton, like one of the big things to happen under him was not only the fall of Yugoslavia, but basically the fall of Eastern communism. The wall, the Berlin Wall, fell under Reagan, famously, but the collapse of the USSR was a Bill Clinton thing. So, but Yugoslavia itself, because of a lot of sort of brewing tensions between Serbian nationalists, the current president of Yugoslavia, oh god, what's his name again? Not the current, but the last president of Yugoslavia was Serbian, and there was a lot of tension between the Serbs and the Bosnians, in particular the Muslim population of Bosnia. sort of tension between the Serbian nationalists and them, and that eventually spiraled into a very bloody war. Serbia basically massacred like 30,000 Bosnian Muslims. So it was one of the last century's sort of shortest war, but one of the most horrific. A lot of people died in that war. Famously brought to an end thanks to the efforts of Bill Clinton and Tony Blair. Well, not. Their involvement was that they basically came right at the end, bombed Serbia, and after that the war ended because the Serbs didn't have the manpower or the will to continue the little genocide. So.
Fair enough. Why do you think that the Serbians went around and massacred tens of thousands of Bosnian Muslims?
The Serbians have always been a very sort of nationalistic country. Even when they were part of Yugoslavia, there was this, like, most of the descent came from within Serbia to sort of secede and like do its own thing. So basically, like, if they couldn't secede from Yugoslavia, they'd just kill a bunch of people. Basically, that was their thing. So yeah, it was also like a religious thing. They specifically targeted the Muslim population of Bosnia. So like a lot of the Serbian military commanders, people like Mladic and Kridzic, were like hardcore Christians, basically, and that sort of played a big role into why they did what they did. So
yeah, of course, like what happened to the Muslim population is quite disgusting.
yeah, it's one of the most like barbaric war crimes of the 20th century.
You know,
and of course,
after the murder of
the
6
people
million Jews.
Yes, it's not as big as, of course, the Holocaust, but it's still, like, in terms of just raw barbarism, it's one of the worst war crimes committed. All the people responsible, of course, were put on trial in The Hague, including the former Prime Minister of Yugoslavia, were basically just found guilty of war crimes and sentenced to life imprisonment. A very famous one, God, what is his name? God, the poison guy. God, his name again.
You're talking to the wrong guy for known things about the
There was
Eastern
this
Bloc.
meme a while ago of a guy drinking poison, and it became like this massive meme. I can't remember his name again, but yeah, basically it was a fucked up situation made worse by Bill Clinton and Tony Blair dropping depleted uranium shells on Serbia. Like it was not as bad as, say, like America dropping the bomb in Hiroshima. It was the Bill Clinton intervention was not necessarily a totally good thing. It sped up the end of the war, but like some of the stuff they got up to was highly suspect.
I believe on Saturday we spoke about how a lot of children, both during and after the war, were trafficked out of Yugoslavia.
Yeah, basically, whenever one of these massive wars, and it was a massive war, it encompassed all of Yugoslavia. Hundreds of thousands of people, mostly the young and the very old, fled Eastern Europe to the West, and unfortunately, quite a few of them were sex trafficked, thanks to the intervention of people like Mr. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Facilitated by Bill Clinton, but they wound up in the hands of people like Epstein. Like a lot of Epstein's victims come from that Eastern European time frame.
Mhm. Donald Trump's wife is actually from
Yes,
around that area, which I believe I mentioned last time.
yes, she is from Slovenia, the former Yugoslav Socialist Republic. The same as we said before, Slavoj Žižek. Formerly the most famous Slovenian, but Melania has stolen his title.
Yeah. There's, I, I'm not quite sure how Bill plays into the trafficking of young women and children.
Basically,
But
the
it's
the
like
conspiracy is
I remember you mentioning that Hillary is kind of like mostly part of that.
the Hillary Clinton is. It's weird talking about her because uh, like, growing up when she was very young, she was like this idealistic, sort of left-leaning hippie girl. She was in she was for like Medicare for all, anti-interventionism, and then as soon as she married Bill, she becomes this sort of like the person she's known as now. This sort of like narcissistic war who famously uh, was responsible for the bombing and overthrowing of uh, Libya, the Gaddafi government of Libya, which is which quite a lot of the sort of the new wave of sex trafficked people came from. That was her sort of contribution to the whole thing. It was basically Bill and Hillary. They've like, done a lot of damage not only to Eastern European countries but Pan African countries like Libya. The damage they've done over the years is and Middle Eastern countries as well, of course. Hillary Clinton was Obama's Secretary of State, and she was very much involved in his numerous bombing campaigns over the Middle East, places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. She was very much sort of at the forefront of that.
Yeah. Um. Uh, Hillary's ran for president, twice, and she's been beaten twice now. What
First by Barack Obama,
one
and
wonders
then
when she'll eventually stop.
I don't think she'll ever stop. To be honest, she has this like weird sense of narcissism. She recently did a 4 hour Hulu documentary about her failed presidential run. I haven't seen it, but apparently it's like one of the worst rated things on Hulu. So, uh, I don't think I'd ever be like drunk enough to watch it. I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah.
I know enough about Hillary Clinton to know that she's she's not the heroic liberal saver that she sort of pretends to be. There are basically two sides to the Clintons. One side is the sort of liberal, anti-Trump, sort of sane, resistant people, and the other half is the child sex traffickers.
Yeah. So obviously, sex trafficking's like a big part of what we've been talking about, like over the entire course of this series, from Epstein to Weinstein to Trump and.
Well, Weinstein was not a sex trafficker; he was just a sex pest.
Fair
But
enough.
also, very famously, a big supporter and friend of the Clintons. Um, he donated quite a lot of money to the DNC um, throughout his career. Oh no, not now, obviously. He's become a COVID pariah.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing like journalists ask questions. the Weinstein's Hillary Clinton. She just sort of like tries to pretend she never really knew him, even though there's like thousands of photos of them hanging out together at black tie parties. It's fucking weird.
And in regards to Epstein, have Bill or Hillary ever been found on Epstein's little black book in that plane?
They're mentioned both in the Epstein flight logs and the black book of a certain Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. For anyone who doesn't know, the flight logs are a reference to Jeffrey Epstein's like sex plane. It is basically his fuck plane, which he would get a bunch of celebrities together to molest sex slaves. And then Bill Clinton, I believe his name is mentioned on the flight logs something like 23 times. It's
a lot.
I don't know.
It's definitely a lot.
That's a lot. He's not like Matt Gray, who's been there once. He's been there like over 20 times, and it makes you wonder, what the fuck they were up to.
Definitely.
His relationship is with Epstein. Not a lot of people know about the details, like when exactly they met, but they were very, very good friends. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time together.
While we were talking about Hitler a couple of days ago, you mentioned how a lot of like famous and infamous people are always have the backgrounds shrouded in mystery, with the exception of a few people.
Purposely so, I would say. That's the thing. Having a lot of money and power can grant you as a certain level of like mystique and anonymity. Unless you're a politician, then sort of like your whole life has to be out there. But if you're someone like Epstein, who's just a financier, then But the world of money and politics is sort of intertwined, and that's how Epstein got to know Bill Clinton. The details, not a lot of people know about the specific details, but I assume they met at some like bourgeois New York party and like shared a hobby for being pedophiles.
Yeah,
that's a lot of these people know each other. They know each other through their shared love of fucking children.
it's quite sick what money does to people. Money's a sickness almost. It really is. It is a sickness because money in today's society is what grants you power, and with power comes even greater irresponsibility. Yes, I did just misquote that.
You did miss Spider-Man, but
yeah.
in essence, it's true. Like, the more money you have, the more sort of like deranged you become. Like, as soon as you hit that billionaire status, you just think that you're invincible. You can just do whatever the fuck you want, and that's what a lot of these people believe. They think that their money can just buy their way out of anything. Like Epstein, for a time, was able to buy his way out of serving serious jail time.
Do you think he ran out of money and that's why that's why he was put in jail and then died shortly after?
I think it's because he just, at that point, he was a known figure, so him getting the get out of jail free card would have been too on the nose. So yeah, if the states found out this guy was just sitting on a mountain of child porn and let him get away again, it would cause too much distrust in the system. So I think to sort of save face, he was that's why he was sent to jail.
Fair enough.
Not for the crime of being a pedophile, but for the crime of being like a sloppy pedophile. Like he'd been caught one too many times.
Being caught one too many times. Definitely.
Yeah, that's basically it. And that's probably the reason why he was killed. Not because of money reasons, but because like he was too well known at that point. He'd become a liability.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, like something else that we spoke about was the fact that he was ready to blab about everyone being in this child sex ring, but
Yes, one of the theories as to why he was off was he was going to blab, but personally I don't believe it. But it's it's a theory.
definitely has a theory. This is what these videos are about. You know, just theories that myself have, yourself has, theories that most of the some or most of the general public might have in general about what these people are doing.
Yes, I like to make clear that everything we talk about is 100% like it's. We're not like Pizzagate people where we take real things and like add events to them. We're not Alex Jones and Mike Cernovich. We're like talking about stuff that's actually going on.
Alex Jones.
Yes, his recent fall from grace has been interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pizzagate is as an event is like one of the more sort of interesting conspiracies within conspiracies. I don't know if you know about it.
I'm not. I've heard the reference, but I'm not highly aware of it. I don't exactly know all the details surrounding it.
But basically, Pizzagate is a conspiracy from Mike Cernovich, who's like an Infowars guy. He's a big-brained super genius, and basically a few years ago he went on Infowars and claimed that there was a child sex dungeon operating in the basement of a Washington pizzeria, common famously, and that sex dungeon was connected to Hillary Clinton. And it got to the point where some like lone gunmen like took people hostages in the pizza place trying to find this basement that didn't exist.
But
That's just yeah.
But they say that it doesn't exist, but what's your thought on it, Mao? Do you personally believe that there is a sex dungeon under this pizza place?
No. The comic pizza thing is just like a detail Cernovich made up. Like the thing about Alex Jones and Cernovich and all those like right wing grifters. They take true things and add fake things to make them seem more knowledgeable about the subject. Basically, like the way this whole sort of conspiracy theory came from was during the 2016 presidential election. WikiLeaks famously leaked like 30,000 leaked emails from the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Oh yeah,
and
there's that as well. We can talk about that. But after we're done talking about the Pizzagate, so the entire Pizzagate thing is just like one big lie.
Comes from it's the Pizzagate theory comes from, I believe, a reference in one email from Clinton staffers where pizza is referenced. Like the thing about Mike Cernovich is he's fucking insane and he sees these patterns everywhere. It's like that Charlie Day thing from Always Sunny. He's got this big fucking whiteboard of names and faces like stapled to each other. So he saw a reference to pizza like several times throughout the leaked Clinton emails, and came to believe that a child sex dungeon was operating within a pizzeria, which is total just bullshit.
So
Again, like if you're going to conduct sex crimes, you conduct them like on Epstein's island, so we're secluded, not a fucking pizza basement.
so it's just a lie then. It's just something that
It,
someone
it,
made
it's
up.
bullshit. The basis is true. Like, yeah, they're sex criminals, but Pizzagate is, as a story, is just made up. It's bullshit.
Okay. So like a lot of controversy that surrounded Hillary Clinton in 2016 during the
It's,
presidential election, which you did mention was the 30-odd thousand emails between between Hillary Clinton and someone else. I'm not quite sure who else was
it's
involved.
basically and campaign staff. A lot of stuff uh, came out in those emails. The biggest revelation being the sort of the fucking over of Bernie Sanders during that. It's throughout multiple emails. It basically confirms that Bernie Sanders was conned out of the nomination.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Is like any other information on these emails, like what was included in them, or
it's mostly just superficial bullshit confirming Hillary Clinton to be like kind of psychotic, like similar correspondence with staffers. She's like a typical sort of psycho boss. It's mostly just like superficial bullshit. But the biggest one is the Bernie Sanders leak, which played a big part in like helping fuck Clinton over in the 2016 election. That played a pretty big role in her defeat, because it basically confirmed that to everyone that Clinton was just a snake. She's not to be trusted.
oh, that's quite a fair point.
It's thing most people know. Like if you look at American polls, Hillary Clinton is like one of the most like disliked, not like politicians, figures just in general. She's first, and then Donald Trump is a very close second. Just very few people actually like Hillary Clinton. And those people that do like are like insane Twitter liberals who just worship her.
Of course. I, I think I spoke about this in a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe the one before that. That I seen a video on Facebook or Twitter, or I have seen it many times. That there's the coming out the speakers that Donald Trump is the new president of the United States of America, and there's this video of a woman who just screams no and starts crying and going off her fucking head. It's brilliant.
I'm sure quite a few people were doing that. And let's make it clear, we're not supporting Donald Trump in that. We're not a pro-Trump podcast.
No, definitely not.
But it's hard to imagine like who would have actually been worse out of the Clinton or Trump. Like, we know how bad Trump is because we're currently living in that universe, but somewhere in the multiverse there is a President Hillary Clinton, and we can only guess just how sort of monstrous that would be. Like the whole of the Middle East would just be up in flames if Clinton was in charge right now.
Yeah.
Probably more so than it already is.
It's obviously not particularly good to for any Clinton to be in the presidential office. It's
It was bad enough.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that Clinton got up to across the Yugoslavia thing, his whole super predator campaign ad was another just like outright just racist fucking policy that he perpetrated. for anyone knows, Bill Clinton's super predator thing, he purposely like characterized young African American men as like these super predators that deserve to be locked up.
Yes.
It, it was just it's hard to imagine like if Bill Clinton could have got a second term because the economy was good under him. We have we have the famous Clinton say, "Is the economy stupid?" It's everything is about the economy. So, but everything else was like it was just horrible.
Yeah. I'm actually going to cut this episode a little bit short. Um,
How long have we been doing this?
about 37 minutes. I'm just gonna cut it. I'm just gonna cut it short right here because particularly, well, I'm not really feeling like myself lately. Obviously with this whole coronavirus pandemic going around, a lot of people are getting sick and
You don't have it, do
hmm.
you? You don't have it, do you?
No, I don't believe I have it. I just there's a possibility that I'm like I might have got sick while being outside to the shop,
Yeah,
etc.
side folks. That's our message.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Don't catch the death.
yeah, just a last message to people. Be careful around like outside. Obviously, social distance and 2 meters. Stay back from people. Wash your hands. Um, Try not to cough in anyone's general direction either. And avoid people who are coughing in your general direction. Anyway,
Stay at home and tell us all day.
yeah,
That's what.
well, I've been Grant Magic, dictator of the Republic of New Strathclyde. I thank my guest at Mile Over 1949.
It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's always good to have you on. Um, and tune in next week. I don't exactly know the agenda for micronational guests or the next conspiracy, but we did have a viewer suggestion which I will talk to Mau and Paul about. So tune in next week for more videos.